Okay, our glue is dry. I let it sit overnight. I'm gonna pop it out of the clamps here. We're gonna see, of course, we have our X's, we have our little glue here. What I'm gonna do next off camera is run it through the wide belt sander, both front and back, to kind of clean up the face. And then we're gonna go through the process of installing this on the cabinet. So we have hinges going on next. So let me run it through the sander and we'll come and put it on the nightstand. Back from the sander, I have all my pieces sanded nice and flat, nice and even there. Nice and even on the back side. I'm ready to install my hinges. So the hinges we're gonna be using are these guys here. And they are in the drawers underneath the brooms. So the line I want you to pay attention to is right here. I'm going to draw a line from that rail and continue it onto that stile. So I'll show you what that looks like. So line up the ruler onto that stile right there. I'm sorry, onto that rail, and transferring it over to that stile. Do the same down here. It's gonna go right there. Now, those lines are used to line up your hinge. That's gonna line up on the bottom of that line here, and on the top of that line here. To install the hinges, we will be using this bit here. This is called a VIX bit. It's a self-centering drill bit, so that the center of the drill aligns to the center of the hole. So the way that looks is like this. Drill bits inside, little housings outside. So as you drill a hole, it makes sure it stays right in the center like a target. So what we're going to do is use the drill. I'm going to hold the hinge in place. Just like that. So we're lined up on the bottom. And I use the drill and drill a hole. There's two different kind of screws that we'll be using. One's longer and one's shorter. One's got a, let's see if I can get this to focus. This one here has kind of a rounded head on it, and this one here has got a flat head. So if you look at them this way again, focus. This one here has kind of a rounded head on it like this. This one here has a flat head. We're going to be using the one with a flat head to install the hinge to the door. And the reason we do that is so that the flat part of the head sits even with the hinge. If you use the round part, it would stick up a little bit, causing the door not to sit flat. So I'm going to get a screwdriver and install these. I don't want to use a power drill to install these because it's kind of a delicate operation. So let me get a screwdriver. I'll be right back. So just a regular old screwdriver, Phillips number 1 in this case. And I will install all these screws using a screwdriver, just like that. I'll finish installing those off camera. Okay, I got my screws installed, so my hinges are now on the door. Now I have to put the door onto the cabinet. So that line that we drew earlier to figure out the size of the door, which was 3/4 of an inch away from here. So this line here is 3/4 of an inch away from the inside of the face frame. I'll get you closer on that. So that line is 3/4 of an inch away from that edge. And we're going to use that line to line up the edge of the door. So the edge of the door is going to line up on that line. So I want you to pay attention to right here as I push down the door. Can you see how that door shifts? So what you want to do is put a little pressure down and you're going to see the hinge actually move. I don't have a camera person today, so let's see if I can get you in here closer. Now watch right here as that hinge shifts a little bit. Hope we can see that. Let's take another look here. Right there. So what I'm doing is I'm putting pressure down on that door so that hinge is situated where it wants to go. This helps if you have 2 people. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle that in place so that the hinge is lined up, or the door is lined up on that. And the top of the door is lined up right here. I'll transfer that line down. So I want that door to line up here and here. So again, put the door on the cabinet, line up the top, line up the side, preload the hinges, wiggle it around a little bit. And again, this takes a little bit of messing around with it. That's why it's helpful to have 2 people, one to kind of hold the door and one to drill the holes. But I'm going to keep messing around with this until I get it where I want it. All right, got it where I want it. Use my Vicks bit. Drill my holes. Get my rounded overhead screws and screw those in with a screwdriver. And kind of get a feel for the way the screw goes in. Harder woods will be a little bit harder, softer woods will be a little bit easier. So I'm just gonna screw that in. If your screw's having a hard time getting in there, you can get a little soap or a little bit of wax on that to help it go in. So I'll go ahead and finish this up. And our door is installed.